fun, and you can ask anything you want. But that's just me. Probably show more respect to the other two guys.
Don't show me any respect at all. I'm not sure.
Why should anything change?
I was wondering if there was ever anything one of your co-stars got to do that you wish you could have done.
Sarah got to do, Buffy got to do Spike, and I was always but vampires don't pass out on tranquilizers, and I was like, fall asleep already.
To do everything and everybody. So I don't think that there's anything that, I got enough. My plate was full enough, I think.
It would have been fun to have been Buffy a few times.
Hi. So myself, as I'm sure everyone in this room absolutely adores Mr. Whedon, but I also kind of want to hit him in the face for all the emotional pain he's caused me. Has that been your experience?
Loving him and wanting to hit him in the face at the same time? What's your relationship like with your father? There's something much deeper here that we should be getting into. I think that's any relationship in your life, to be honest with you. There's much more joy than non-joy.
I think, like, storytelling is a vicarious experience, it is inherently safe, and so you can get scared, but you're safe. You can kind of fall in love, but you're safe. But you don't want it to be all positive, you want to have those lows, you want to have that pain, so that the vicarious experience is a full one. And so, I suspect that if Joss didn't do those things that you say broke your heart, it didn't really break your heart. If he didn't do those things, it wouldn't be as full of an experience.
That's very true.
Yeah. Thank you. But he was trying to hurt you. He really was. He was so angry that the WB announced that Spike was going over on Angel before he killed me off on Buffy. He was like, damn it! I wanted them all to cry.
What are your favorite themes in Buffy? Like, your favorite overall moral or theme?
Good question.
It's early.
I mean, basically, Buffy was a coming-of-age story, and so the filter that you were watching it through changed, particularly as everybody got older. So the morality, for me, was so black and white in the early seasons. Good was good, bad was bad. It was easy to tell, And then as she gets older, as everybody got older, it becomes far more gray, and you realize that it's a window into how much more complex life is, and the right thing to do isn't always easy, it isn't always clear. So for me, the morality changed and got much more complicated and much more gray and much more true to adult life as it went on.
Yeah. Thematically, for my character, it was you didn't need powers to be powerful. The power of listening, the power of observing was just as important as the power of making fireballs come.
I think, and at the base of it is, and I think I never really thought about what we were talking about, but you're right. But in the beginning, in in the beginning, it was how do you get through adolescence? You know, because in adolescence you figure out that the world is messed up, that your parents are kind of idiots, and your teachers only half understand the things that they're teaching you. And how do you realize that and then not give up in the face of it? How do you keep trying? I think that's the theme of Buffy, is don't give up. But you're right, the morality question. Thank God, because otherwise I would have been killed off immediately. Gray area.
And also, if ever you contract herpes, tell your next partner right away that you have that disease.
Thank you there. Pearls for the day.
Yeah, you're all right.
That was an allergy medicine, by the way.
Okay, so my other question, it's not a question. Well, it is. Could you do an improv for us, just like in your characters?
No, there's no way right now I can do it. I couldn't even imagine doing that right now.
You're so staring. I refuse. I don't do the accent anymore. I've moved on with my life.
I'll just sit here quietly and be supportive.
Somebody came up to me at my line a couple days ago, the autograph line, and she said her favorite line. I guess Xander had so many great lines, and I guess Cordelia had just been kidnapped and sent the letter, and it said, they're gonna make a meal. It's like they're gonna cook Cordelia or something. They're gonna make a meal for like, oh, so she's fine, guys. They're gonna make her dinner. They're gonna cook her, eat her. I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, can I? She's good.
Hi, this question is for James. We met you one time in New Orleans, and you answered a really good question for us, and we have a follow-up to that.
So you haven't given it much thought at all. Off the cuff.
Only people that probably asked him this question. And everyone will be upset about this question. But we talked about Dragon Ball Evolution, and what I really need to know is, will they ever make a Dragon Ball Z? We know that you said you really liked playing Piccolo. Will they ever pick it up? TV, movie, it doesn't matter, will they?
I think it's possible that they'll make a Dragon Ball Z, but I do not think they'll use the producer that did Dragon Ball. I think it'll be a complete reboot, and they'll start from scratch. So I'll have to go audition again, but I would love to go. I'll give it a shot. But yeah, no, you're not gonna. It's dead. Yeah, I mean, like the movie didn't do very well. I remember, this is a good story. I remember. I took my two kids to see the movie, and my son was so excited because he grew up on Dragon Ball Z, and he was so excited. He let us in. He let us into the theater, and I was just thinking, man, just please, my kids are with me. It's opening day, please, big audience, please. And packed. It was a packed audience, and there were like all of these young guys in there, and you couldn't even really get 3 seats together. And we finally kind of got 3 seats close to each other, and I'm looking around, and just a little voice inside my head just goes, "This is too good to be true." I turned to the dude, this 13-year-old next to me, and I'm like, "Hey man, is this Dragon Ball?" And he's like, "What? Is this Dragon Ball, man?" "No, this is Fast and Furious, man." Get my 2 kids up, and we walk across the hall, and we see Dragon Ball, and as we were opening the door, I'm just like, "Please, man, just have an audience, please. Apple would be fine. Just don't embarrass me in front of my kids. Universe, please." There were like 2 other people. So yeah, the film did
kind of a question for everybody, but if you've read, I wanted to ask if you've read the Buffy comic books with the continuation of the series, and if you've liked how your characters have developed in that.
I have read. I'm gonna stop talking.
No, go.
Really?
Yeah, no, I gotta bleed.
La la la.
I know.
Yeah, I read some of it, and I think it's fabulous. You know, apparently I was talking to David Fury about this, and apparently Joss has tried to get. He's tried to go back and like do like a Xander television movie or do a Spike television movie, or he has wanted to come back and revisit the characters and keep working on it, but every time he tries, the Kazuis ruin it. They are the people that produced the original film, and when Joss signed that contract, he had no power at all. So the Kazuis got a great contract, and they got the rights to all Buffy characters that come out of that universe. So they were on paper producers of the television show, although they didn't have any say in anything, but they did get paid out. But apparently, whenever Joss has tried to go back and film anything, they come in and demand so much money and control that it just blows up before he can ever get a camera on anything. So that's why he is, doing comics. That's why a lot of the writers go back and write the comics, because they love the characters, they love the situations, and comics gives them the ability to explore. So I'm like awesome because as much as those writers can keep going back to those characters, I mean they're all like producing some of the biggest shows in Hollywood. But whenever I talk to them, like David Fury's like, yeah, 24 is great, but I just want a demon to come out and rip through it. They miss it. They really do. So yeah, I love them. I think they're great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. I look great. I like the eye patch. It was like Joss knew that it was going to be a comic, He's like, well, that has to do with an eye patch. That's Xander. My love life situation, I think it's fine. Totally fine with the Dawn and Xander relationship. You what? Yeah.
You dog.
Yeah, we've been.
Won't she always be 12 to you?
No, well, I saw her in she was in, she did a spread in FHM. She's not 12 anymore. Yeah, we've been scissoring for a while.
I'm sorry, man. She's 40 years old. I will think of her as.
Not unless she was in front of me.
All right.
Then you'd be like, you're not 12 anymore, are you?
All right.
But I'm a mother.
I've had my eye on you for a long time. Anyone the next best thing?
Hi, my question's about fan fiction, particularly for you, James.
Oh, God.
First of all, have you read any?
Well, what?
Fan fiction, have you read any?
No, I haven't. It's too nasty. I am not easily embarrassed, but no. I think it's awesome that it's written, though. I mean, as storytellers, whenever you do any art, you're trying to get the audience involved. You're trying to elicit a reaction, and that the audience would create their own art using those situations and those characters is just fabulous. It's just so randy.
So is that uncomfortable for you, knowing that people are taking Spike out and creating their own little Spike comics, or is it flattering?
I don't really, it's not really flattering or uncomfortable. I think it's awesome, just on an artistic level. It's great that people are creating, their own stuff. I think that, art is a human birthright. It's one of the things that makes being human worth it, along with good food. Really, being a human, like a dog. It's like, hi, I'm happy again, and I wake up and I'm like, not happy again. So being able to create stuff. Like, I paint, right? I suck at it. But, hey, I'm a human being. I'm gonna pick something. It's, you know, I don't have to try to sell it. I'm just gonna paint. And so
How much do you want for it? What do you want? I'll pay anything. How much do you want for it?
But you know, it's my human birthright to go and create that. And so I think it's fabulous. It's just if I read it, then I get embarrassed. Then it's just like.
Hi. So one of the things that's been really getting me through the past couple of months is constantly saying, what would Buffy do? And I had to leave my apartment complex due to a huge cockroach infestation. So I thought, instead of what would Buffy do, what would Xander do? What would Joyce do? What would Spike do? How would you handle a cockroach infestation?
I know you asked them, but I probably have a lot more experience with cockroaches than anybody in this room because I lived in New York. You come in at like 3 o'clock in the morning, you flip on the lights, and then you just go, and you kill them with your bare hands because they're too fast to like get nice about it. You can also take steel wool and a really thin flathead screwdriver and you jam it into every single crack or crevice, and you can sometimes buy this illegal Chinese powder. And you draw a perimeter around the edge of the room, and if the cockroaches cross it, they die. And I know it's true because I've watched it happen.
When I lived in Astoria, Queens, I went to step on a big cockroach. I swear to God, it was this big, and it screamed at me. Like California kid, you know.
Oh, but water bugs are a whole other story.
I tried to get this thing going on my Twitter water. I think you're coming at this at the wrong angle. I think you need to ask yourself, what wouldn't win a concert?
I can't keep up. I can't follow you.
I speak in mixed metaphors.
Has to do with how much time has passed since Buffy ended, and you guys have continued to do these cons and panels, and the fan base is huge. I just wanted to know from each of you what your strangest fan encounter has been at one of these places, because we all know we're kind of drunk and crazy.
But that was a long time ago, in general, no. I mean, I have to say, anybody that likes Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, they have a sense of humor. You know, it's kind of a line in the sand, and if you don't have a sense of irony, or if you take yourself or the world too seriously, you never watch the show to begin with. And so generally, I find that fan interaction is like, you guys are smart, you're funny, you're cool. I have a really good time. The weirdest thing that happened is when I went to London, and it was very early on. I think I'd only been on the show for half a year. And I went to London, and I was at a convention, and we were all hanging out, and this old lady came up and said, my friend has a favor to ask you. And I was like, yeah, sure, man. And the friend was like, you know, even older. And she's like, turn around. And I was like, cool. And I hear a little voice, bend over. And such an idiot. I did it. She and then I hear this word, now clench. And I just ran. The cocktail party was over. I was like, I'm back in my room now, and I was just sitting on the bed, shaking, like, I don't believe it just happened to me. So now I'm careful, man. Because every once in a while, people do weird things. But in general, that's really by far the weirdest. Even close to that is happening. But I also probably, maybe I'm better at setting boundaries.
I've been good. I haven't. I think it's maybe my character. Xander was more of the everyday guy, you know. But I was talking to a couple friends last night about you said, you know, the fans have a sense of irony, which makes me. So Alanis Morissette's song isn't ironic. Of course, we all know that nothing in that song is ironic. But this is where the mind went yesterday. What if she knew that, right? And the irony is the fact that we're still talking about it 15 years later. Would that be fucking brilliant? Would that be awesome?
It would be if that were true.
Yeah, I know. I'm a biggest fan. I've had all my fan experiences have been wonderful, and that sounds like I would have thought that weird. That would have been awesome. That's not awesome. You think you're staying in the hotel? My room's right over there. I'll roll you over.
I find that the English are the naughtiest. They are.
You get kind of like the accent gives you like they're proper, and it's kind of like you're just very oh yes, and all of a sudden you're being fisted.
I think of the English like Vulcans, like, you know, they have this veneer of like proper behavior, but underneath is this roiling, passionate thing. Yeah. What is it when a Vulcan's like they're mating and they go crazy? Yeah, they're always, the English are always on the Ponfar. They're always in the Ponfar.
Historically, they were sort of the barbarians to the north.
Yeah, Saxon bastard.
Yeah.
I'm a Saxon bastard.
Me too.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm a really young watcher, and as you know, in Buffy there are a lot of allegories or life lessons, especially for a teenager. I was wondering what your favorite allegory or metaphor was to film.
Nick?
I've always said, you're making love to a 2,000-pound gorilla. It's not over until the gorilla says it's over.
Follow that.
And tell him why.
You know, I don't think, for me, the writers on Buffy, every week, what they were being asked to do is to take their worst day, the day that they got humiliated, or the day that they hurt someone for no good reason, and then slap fangs on top of that and tell the world. So it was a sustained act of humiliation and bravery for the writers. I mean, truly, they were really bearing their souls to you guys constantly. And that's what I take away from it. They would never tell you the specifics. Like, they'd come down on a set and be like, "Did you realize what I just told you that I did one day?" And but they would never, you know, you'd ask them like, "Well, what really happened?" And they'd be like,
Like, if you sleep with the guy, he turns evil. Like, don't we all know that guy?
it happens with chicks too.
And chicks with dicks, it also happens.
I'll take your word for it.
A Whitney Houston restaurant downtown here? No.
from his summer sometimes, and do you play along?
Say it again.
What was that?
Do people in real life sometimes mistake you for Miss Summers? And do you play along?
I think, what, do people mistake her like she's cosplaying for Buffy, for Buffy's mom?
Yeah.
And then pretends that she's not Buffy's mom. That plays along like she's cosplaying as Buffy's mom? Is that the question?
Thanks for clarifying. Could you say that again? Maybe another language? Oh yeah, this is hey, you know. He always says things. My daughter was living in Paris for a year, and she went to a bar downtown Paris, and she met a bunch of kids who were like around 19 who were at this bar from out in the suburbs of Paris. And so, you know, they're all talking in French and getting to know one another. And he says to her, you know, this is totally random. You look so much like Buffy's mother. And she goes, yeah, she's my mom. And he goes, come on. And so she gets out, like, photographs in her iPhone to show him that I am, in fact, her mother. And he went, I knew that you have the same evil eyes. That might have gotten lost in translation.
I actually cosplayed as Spike one time. When my daughter was, I think she was like 8 years old, and she wanted me to take her trick-or-treating. And that day, we happened to be doing Spike in a van fix, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. I'm gonna go as Spike tonight. So I kept the costume. I just like, you know, like they released us, and I just got in the car as Spike. And we walked around the neighborhood, and all night, nobody recognized me. I just kept hearing, great Spike.
I mean, I danced out once, but typically Xander was beaten up and bloodied a lot. And there were just times where it was probably just laziness, I just wanted to go home, but I would love to kind of keep on, like when I had the worst battering and bruising and bloody stuff, I would keep my makeup on and then like drive through a drive-thru.
Double cheeseburger.
I did that one time, and I forgot, you know, because like you get tired. We were known as Buffy the Weekends. Like we would work 12 to 20 hours a day, right? So when they released you want to go home and go to bed. And I forgot to wipe my blood off my face, and I was driving home, and the cops pulled me over, and they were serious. They're like, "Who did you kill?" They can tell the difference between like a wound and like as if you like got someone's carotid artery and got splattered. It's like, what, you know? And I'm like, really? No, it's just see, it's sweet. It's this guy's a freak.
Taste it, no taste it.
We got it straightened out, but yeah, that was scary.
I'm going to apologize in advance to the other 364 days a year because August 20th is the best birthday to have. We're the coolest. Happy belated birthday, Mr. Marsters.
Leos rock. They say that Leos that we have kind of a big ego about being Leos, but when your planet is the sun, it's hard enough to be a little bit proud.
It's actually technically the gas ball.
Sustained nuclear reaction.
Hi, I'm
Fusion
Nick.
reaction,
I think I speak for the majority of the room how we all were devastated when Xander left Anya at the altar. And I was just wondering if you could have changed it, or what your side of the story, what you
would have wanted it to be? Would they have stayed together, or would you have kept it the way that it is?
You know, I mean, I like looking at her. She was nice to look at. You know, I just learned, listen, they did everything kind of perfectly. I'm not gonna question Joss Whedon. Just because I like looking at her. It's like, hey, Joss, you know what, I mean, really, she's got nice cleavage and stuff, and if we break up, I'm not gonna be able to be in bed with her anymore and stare at her cleavage anymore. So, you know, in terms of storytelling, it was the right way to go. In terms of horny Nikki and
Hi guys, thanks for coming to DragonCon, by the way. So you all played your characters for a number of years, and I know a lot of actors begin to sort of take ownership of their characters. And even though you guys had the best writers that there ever have been, were there ever times when you looked at the script and said, you know, I don't think that Joyce would do this, or I don't think that Spike would have done this, or Xander?
I to this day had it was horrible telling Buffy to leave the house, because that just felt so totally out of character for a mother to do that under any circumstances. And that I just wish that they found a different way, because that just wasn't right for me.
I was often terrified by what they made me do. I realized in season, I think it was 6, that I had to do to whoever they told me to do it, whenever they told me to do it, wear or not wear whatever they told me to not wear. And I got seriously terrified. It started to become hard to come to work. It started to get hard to get out of bed. Because usually, like on a TV show, once you film the pilot, you know what you're basically going to be doing for the next 7 years. Because most television shows are boring, and most television shows do the same thing over and over and over again. So there's a safety in that. With a film, you can read it before you sign the contract and say, okay, I can do that, or I want to do that, or I don't want to do that, I pass. But with Joss Whedon, there's no rules at all. And you have no idea what you're going to be asked to do. And artistically, I mean, in hindsight, I'm like, man, that was awesome. I'm very proud of it. In the moment, I was terrified, truly terrified. But one of my favorite things was, we would often have directors come in that had never seen the show before. And so I remember you were wounded. You were wounded over to Buffy's house, and everyone's crowded around you, and like, oh, Xander, are you okay? Right? And I'm over in the corner just going, like that. And the director comes up to me and goes, hey, Matt, you know, Xander is hurt, and you know him. And you're a regular, and he's a regular. You gotta go care about him. And I'm like, no, I don't care. Because I love you, I really do, but you're big, but the characters don't know. It's like, no, Buffy's important. It's her sister, I suppose, but other than that, no.
I would not have gone into construction.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, and yellow wasn't in my color wheel. So that yellow hat. I would think, I'm like, are we on the construction? I'm like, fuck, I gotta put that hat on. I gotta wear jeans. I gotta tuck my shirt into jeans. You know, it's against everything I believe in. That's like a child molester fucking outfit, you know what I mean? Tuck your shirt in with a black belt, you know? Have a pear-shaped body. Walk like a penguin. Getting a little personal.
I was just wondering, if y'all could choose any other character in the Buffy world, which other character would you play?
Probably the character of Frank Kazooie.
Sit home and just collect the money.
Yeah.
There's no way I would play a different character.
Yeah, me neither.
have to agree. I loved playing Joyce. I mean, my mom was a single mother. I liked being in that place. It was a good dress rehearsal for my own daughter, actually. You know, it was kind of interesting. It was like, wow, someday I'm going to be in this place.
What was it like when you were? What were the parallels?
Yeah, well, actually...
Raising Buffy and then...
Get out of my house!
I found that I kicked her out more than once.
No, my daughter's like kind of having a difficult time in her love relationship, and you know, she comes home and I dying to go, so what's happening today? You know, like what's he doing, all this, but I don't. I just like wait for her to talk to me about it.
Do you like
Sometimes he's a nice kid. but I wait, you know, I don't ask.
So what you're saying is that she's going to be single pretty soon.
Huh?
Is that what I'm hearing?
But I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, yeah, this is just what I do with Joyce. You know, like you want to know. So people, it might look like you're in the background and not doing much, but you're dying to know that you know that like you need to let your daughter have her space and have her life. So you sit back and wait for the news.
I should try that. Your kids for information.
I did have I've always wondered, Buffy was always the main character because she was a slayer, but after Willow and Xander had saved the day or saved Buffy multiple times, Giles never offered them any training to help them stay alive.
Yeah, he's jealous. Clearly, he's jealous. There was only room for him. It was. Look back at their relationship. It's very unhealthy. Buffy and Giles. Always traveling together. It was very inappropriate.
My question is for Kristine and James. Buffy's mom and Spike had a couple of really great interactions. The first time when Buffy is getting Spike's help and she lets Spike into the house, and then later a couple seasons when Spike is in the process, I think he's got the chip where he's slightly turning good, and then there's an interaction where Buffy's mom realizes, like, wait, this is that vampire that I met one time. So what do you think the relationship between those characters would have been like had Joyce not been killed?
Spike always had a soft spot in his heart for Joyce. I think instinctually, Spike fell in love with Buffy in the first episode. I mean, he was trying to kill her, but I think it was also really hot. You know, like, I think he was attracted to her from the beginning, and so that extends to the mother, you know. And also to her little sisters, like, oh, I love her, and then anybody in her immediate family, all of a sudden, like, I also think that they're really cool too. But I think instinctually, I was like, and I think that was in the writing too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was but I was like confiding in you, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were sitting at the. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I think from Joyce's point of view, it was like everybody else was so young, it was suddenly like, oh, we can talk.
That's a good point because I was also one of the Buffy.
Yeah.
But I mean, really. There was outside of bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. Yeah. You were never on my radar. And when you're on my radar, I'm like, Jesus Christ, get off my radar. But it's true because it's like, you know, is that the writing, or it's like that pack mentality of like, you know, like Buffy, Willow, and Xander, or Sarah, Allison, and Nikki. We're in high school.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Because I was an adult man, like, you know, 55 playing TV. And I had a click. You on the show? So, yeah, it's great. And it must have been the writing too, because writing, you're dead on about when you fall in love with Spike Up and Buffy, then of course by proxy falls the mom, and like he just cares about everything in that.
Yeah. That was the thing. It was like, why do I care about Dawn? I mean, initially I was like, why am I taking the time? You know, it's not. I was like, oh no, that's another sister. Oh yeah, of course. Take care of her.
My question is, if you guys could talk about the success of Danny Strong as a screenwriter, and did you have the same reaction watching the Emmys and going, oh my God, that's Jonathan?
You know, we did a panel yesterday with Jane Espenson, who's up here, and she was saying how in season 6, 7, Danny would kind of bring her scripts to read. He's like, would you mind reading them? And so she would. She's like, yeah, you know, that one's got, you know, it's good here, it's not great there. She's kind of got some promise. And then so finally, he did that a few times, and he's like, well, I wrote this other script. It's political. And Jane was like, you know, she's thinking to herself, I don't want to read any more scripts, essentially. You know, it's like, I'm done. And so she's like, okay, I'll take on reading. She's like, and it was recount. And she's like, you've hit it out of the park. It's amazing. But she's like, you kind of pigeonhole yourself because there's only one place that would do this, and it's HBO. So you've limited your. And he's like, all right, so with HBO. So, but it's funny. I didn't know that Jane was like reading his stuff back then. So it was kind of neat to hear that progression of it. Because I'm like, Dave Strong, he's a writer. Just kind of came out of nowhere, you know. Like, you know, that he's working on it.
Another overnight success.
Yeah. 30-year overnight success. And I don't watch the Emmys, so I didn't particularly see that moment. But I do see Danny, because you know Danny, he was in the presentation. So the one with the other Willow. So I've known Danny for a long time. But I'm super stoked for him. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And have you guys seen The Butler? Yeah. Here? Has anybody seen The Butler? Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Like freaking awesome. Like 3 people have seen The Butler.
Go see it. It's so good. Ghost Dog is in it, man. Yeah. And go see Ghost Dog too. Forrest Whitaker. He's one of my favorite actors.
He's really wonderful. Oh man, what was it? Idi Amin, where he played the King of Scotland.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I was gonna say that also Danny Strong is writing the screenplay for the final 2 Mockingjay movies. So it's kind of like a DragonCon explosion of nerdom, of crossover Buffy and Suzanne Collins. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, Danny just had like a magic to him. Like he started as like in high school. If you need a student to say one line, it would always be Danny.
Yeah.
But he was the student. Well, I don't even think that in the scripts the student had a name. It was just like he always knocked it out of the park. And so Josh just said, yeah, we only have one other student that ever speaks in this high school. It's Danny Strong. And he just kept being amazing, and they just kept giving him a little more and a little more. He was fabulous. He still is, yeah.
Hey, so I kind of have this belief that Joss Whedon was kind of that nerd in high school that we all love. And he graduated and created Cool, and now everyone loves him. He's like a household name after the Avengers. So what I want to know is if he came up to you and was like, hey, Avengers 2's coming out, who would you want to be? Any character in the Marvel Universe.
Captain America.
Mr. Freeze. That's DC. Slinky's a wonderful toy. Let's go for a girl and a boy. much thought. There was a thing for a while where like it was an online thing where I Bruce Banner, like the Hulk, would have been fun to play that character. But I think Mark Ruffalo's amazing too. Would I have been as amazing? I don't know. Probably not. No, don't worry about me. I'm doing just fine.
Hi. So Joss Whedon, especially on Buffy, was known for making character deaths as painful as they could possibly be, like Joyce and Tara, or badass like Spikes. But Jesse was supposedly Xander and Willow's best friend, and he died, and he was just never ever mentioned again. So, what the hell was that?
Which is really odd, because I mean, Joss is typically all over that. I think Joss was upset because what he wanted to make Jesse bigger in the sense of he wanted to have what's the actor's name? Eric Balfour. He wanted to have Eric like in the titles with the series regulars, and kill him off in the second episode. And the network's like, no, we have to pay him for the full season if that's the case. So they said, no, we can't do that. But so he wanted to always fuck with you guys from day one. And say, I'm gonna kill what you thought was a series regular in episode 2. So I think maybe he was probably a little upset about that he couldn't get his way on that one. So he probably just wanted to forget about it.
This will be our last question.
Good morning. So we all know Buffy was a very physically demanding show, especially for Sarah Michelle Gellar, but what was the most physically demanding episode or scene for you guys?
Wielding that axe. It was heavy. And that was one of those Friday nights at like 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah.
I think 2. I did a movie called Psycho Beach Party, and I had to suck. I know this is a Buffy question, but I almost drowned, so I'm going to talk about this one. We were, Lauren Ambrose was playing Chicklet, and she was out there drowning, and we're in Malibu, at Point Doom in Malibu, which is a big cliff where we shot. And so she's out there, and I'm like, Chicklet, Chicklet, and I run in. And it's one shot, there's no coverage because the sun's going down. And I go, and I gotta figure it, and she's acting, she's a great actress, she's acting like she's passed out. So then I gotta carry her out of the water, and I'm like, I'm taking it, my heart exploded. I had a cigarette before I went in the water. And I'm coming out, my legs just shaking, and I'm coming like sexy, you know? It's disgusting, horrible. I won't do that again. Anytime that we were shooting past midnight and I had 2 scenes off and then I was awakened at 4:30 to finish my day, 4:30 in the morning was brutal. Because you're in your REM sleep, you know, it's like, you're like, please just be behind me, we'll do it Monday. And you're like, yeah, ready for you. Like, love you. I'm like, could you at least give me a 5-minute warning, you know? So that was the most painful part.
That was the one time I heard a stuntman. I only tagged in a stuntman one time. Yeah, I asked him, look, it's a fight scene, it's raining, just wake me up 20 minutes before you want to shoot if I'm going straight into stunts. And they're like, no problem, but of course, we're ready for you now. Yeah, so it's raining cats and dogs. It's supposed to be that we're on grass, but we're on cement. And it's a really thin grass. It's like this thick. So we're sliding all around. And I'm supposed to, like, the gag is you Spike kicks the guy in the nuts, but you don't really kick him in the actual nuts. You kick him in the thigh, but I missed. And boom! It just saw the guy go. It's the only time that I ever yelled cut, because it really,
because he's silent. Right. So it's like, I hate you, Dave.
He'd never, like, we would see each other on other projects, and we'd be doing stunts, and he'd be like, yeah, the guy that tagged me in the nuts. He would never let
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, wonderful.